rocking with the APP. We voting the APP with Bishop Joseph Atherley. We voting for APP.
Introducing the APP candidate for St. Philip West, Lynette Eastmond.
Friends, family, Barbadians, fellow constituents of St. Philip West. I am here today representing the Alliance Party for Progress. And one of the first matters that I would like to discuss with you is the importance of ensuring that we vote. We must never take that right for granted. It was fought for over many years. And now that we have that right and that privilege, we should not take it for granted. And it is for this reason that I'm asking you, all of you out there, to come out in your numbers. You have a choice in this election. Every election is important, and this one is just as important as any other election. I personally trust Barbadians to always make the right choice. On this occasion, we need to put right what we did in 2018. In 2018, we became so disgusted that we felt that we had to put an end to that government. At this point in time, we need to ensure that in Parliament, we have representatives of not just the traditional parties, but the newer parties that have emerged, such as the Alliance. The Alliance consists of many individuals. Some of them have spent a long time in politics. Some of them are new to the political arena. And it is that mix that we are bringing to you that we believe will be beneficial to the country in an overwhelming way. We have amongst us economists, lawyers. We have persons gifted in information technology and trained in that area. We have health and wellness experts. So ladies and gentlemen, there's no need to worry. I myself have been a member of the Owen Arthur cabinet, along with my colleague, Bishop Atherley. This gave us an opportunity to see how a government should be run properly and how a cabinet should function. And the emphasis here is on consultation. The emphasis is on hearing every view. I often recall being in cabinet and recognizing that the chair of the cabinet ensured that we went around the table so that every single voice could be heard. Not only the ones that were the experts. If it were a matter of food prices, it wasn't just those who had been trained in economics, but those who understood the impact that high prices would have on families. And that now seems to be missing in Barbados. We're not having the consultation that we should have in making these very, very important issues for Barbados. The Alliance will bring us back to that position where we consult amongst ourselves, but also consult with stakeholders as well as the wider public. Because of our inability, or should I say the government's past inability to deal with corruption, we now face the prospect that only a small clique of individuals will actually see wealth in Barbados. So we're creating a superclass of wealthy people, and it seems to me an underclass. Barbadians cannot allow this to happen. This is happening because opportunities are being hidden from Barbadians. They're not being allowed to take advantage of the opportunities that come up from day to day. Because corruption is not simply about stealing money. In my view, corruption is also about preventing our people from accessing the opportunities that countries like Barbados can develop. When I think about the areas that have been developed in Barbados, I think to myself that we're losing a great opportunity to really focus on the creative, cultural, and technology industries. I don't say this lightly, and to be honest, I struggle sometimes to be able to convince individuals that this is a real industry that we're talking about. Many individuals don't realize it, even though they turn their television on every day to watch the international networks who are being paid for sending those programs to us here in Barbados. So they send them out to the entire world. There's nothing stopping Barbados from doing the same. There's so many different individuals out there with so many different tastes that we can develop programs and products that can be sold to the entire world. We're only about 300,000 people, and there are millions of people to sell to. If we were elected to office, we would invest in the creative, cultural, and technology industries. Why do I think that this should be an easy sell? We already have people in these industries. It isn't like the medicinal marijuana industry that we know nothing about. And this is growing marijuana for medicinal purposes to selling to a particular market with various standards. We already have individuals in Barbados who are good at music. And we always say how much talent we have. Music, film, fashion. There are individuals who have already sold their work abroad. There are individuals who have had their film screened from the United States to Canada to the UK to Africa. We have had songs that have made it big in the region and throughout the world. Why is it that no government would invest in an industry? And let me say that an industry is not every independence picking a few people to perform. That's not an industry. An industry is not about calling up a filmmaker and suggesting to them that you can put their film in a slot on television, and quite often for free. That's not an industry. An industry requires structure. We did this already when we built the international business sector. Everybody understood that it had to be structured. There was legislation, specific legislation that was put in place to support it. There was money put to promote it. Individuals were trained. Government invested in promotion and marketing, engaged specific areas within the civil service to make sure that those particular departments supported the export of our international business sector. This is what is required for cultural industries. There are already Barbadians quietly who are working for software development companies. They're here in Barbados and the companies are abroad. So we have the talent here. There are individuals here who are being headhunted by companies abroad to do work. So what would happen if our government took 1% of what is now allocated to tourism to start these industries? We would see a massive difference. A massive difference because the individuals who engage in these industries come from every sector in Barbados, come from every demographic, come from every social background. What would happen if we were able to empower those people through the creative industries, through culture and through technology. It would make a vast difference for the people of St. Philip West. And I know in that constituency, there are a number of individuals who would be interested in seeing that we build out that part of the economy. And I'm asking you to send me to Parliament so that I can assist in that development. But I also know that a lot of this starts from at the community level. And at the community level, there are a lot of issues that we have. There's a concern about young people. Yes, there is. And there is a need for a specific intervention. Within St. Philip West, we would ensure that you see that troubled period that young people have, where they're transitioning from childhood into adulthood, that needs to be addressed, not by hoping that they will make it, but by developing a specific program to help them to transition with so many of the issues that they have to face. Their body is changing, their mind is changing. As soon as they turn 18, people say to them that you're an adult. When at 17, you were still a child. So magically, you become an adult at 18. You're treated as an adult by the justice system. You're expected to vote. You're expected to take on responsibilities. Should we not have been teaching them about this from the time they were at least teenagers? Or maybe even when after they've done the 11 plus at 12? It actually makes no sense. And in other cultures, they do have a system for transition, but we have lost ours, so we have to create a new one. We have people in the constituency that are concerned about their businesses. They need to develop their business. They need advice. They need to focus on marketing. They need help with their business plans when they're seeking funding, whether it's from the private sector or whether it's from government. And then we have our retirees and we have our elderly in the society. Because you've retired doesn't mean that you've suddenly lost all of your skills. Our retirees in the community need to be engaged as well. And as far as I can see, they're the ones who would be able to help us with business development and that transition which young people have to make from childhood to adulthood. There are many issues within the constituency of St. Philip West. When I look around, I know that the constituency has been neglected by those that you have put your confidence in before. I'm asking you to give me this opportunity. On January 19th, I'm asking you to come out in St. Philip West and choose me, Lynette Eastmond, as your representative in the House of Parliament. Thank you.
We rockin' with the APP. We voting the APP with Bishop Joseph Atherley.
Everton, HERU, HOLLIGAN, APP candidate for St. George South. Dr. Ferdinand Nichols, APP candidate for St. George North. Paula Bradshaw, APP candidate for St. Joseph. Wayne T. Griffith, APP candidate for St. Lucie. Philippe AIMEY, APP candidate for St. John. Lynette Eastmond, APP candidate for St. Philip West. Nigel Newton, APP candidate for St. Philip North. Bruce HENNIS, APP candidate for St. Philip South. Dr. BELFIELD BELGRAVE, APP candidate for Christchurch West Central. SHAWN TUDOR, APP candidate for Christchurch East Central. Victor Knight, APP candidate for Christchurch East. Bishop Joseph Atherley, APP candidate for St. Michael Central. Veronica Price, APP candidate for St. Michael West Central. Erskine Branch, APP candidate for St. Michael East. Patsie Nurse, APP candidate of St. Michael West. Irvin Belgrave, APP candidate of St. Michael South. MARVA LASHLEY-TODD, APP candidate for the City of Bridgetown. David Gill, APP candidate for St. Michael South Central. Patrick TANNIS, APP candidate for St. Michael South East. Maria Phillips, APP candidate for St. Michael North. Introducing the APP candidate for St. Michael Central, Bishop Joseph Atherley.
Barbadians and constituents of St. Michael's Central, particularly pleased to have the opportunity to say a few words with you today. And thank you for letting me into your homes and for giving me an ear. You know, the honor and high sense of responsibility of standing in the gap for Barbados over the last 3.5 years in the defense of its democracy has been mine as leader of the opposition. My thanks especially though to Senator Franklin and Senator Drakes for helping me to lead the fight in preserving that democracy beyond purely the institutional level. I'm especially pleased today to be a part of a team of men and women under the banner of the Alliance Party for Progress, the APP, a group of highly capable persons of great academic and professional distinction, persons of good moral fiber, and exceptionally important integrity. The Alliance is birthed out of the very compatible philosophies, if you prefer, ideologies of the United Progressive Party and the People's Party for Democracy and Development. That philosophy gives birth to and is guided by a sense of duty to a sovereign God, a God from whom we derive a sense of duty to our fellow men, and also a sense of value as we interact with men in our society in various contexts. But what is the Alliance Party for Progress? What do we represent? What do we stand for? And I will take the opportunity today just perhaps to share briefly and with reference to 10 important points of philosophy, of policy posture, of intended programming, all in an effort to ensure that we pursue together on your behalf the interests of all Barbadians. 1, we stand for and intend to implement policies which will give way to people-centered initiatives which bring meaningful benefits. In other words, policy that starts from the bosom of the people and from which benefits for the people are derived. People must matter and do matter more than anything else. Secondly, a governance model that works. That is, it has integrity in its operations, its capacity in terms of its ability to deliver, and it carries transparency with reference to the high levels of accountability that will be inbuilt. 3, a growth model that results in shared prosperity for all and not the skewed kind of development that we now endure, which convey benefits only to a privileged few. a system that allows for obvious and fair access to treatment and redress in matters of legal, social, and economic justice. A commitment to the building of sound platforms for the provision of education, housing, and other social welfare services. 6, a significant role for the state and its involvement in enterprise, while at the same time, and more importantly so, facilitating investment, private sector-led growth, and the development of labor, all in the context of a sound social partnership which is uncompromised and unfettered. 7, the elimination of corruption, and it has to be eliminated. We are at a stage now where corruption is so rife in Barbados that a clear objective must be elimination, not simply reduction, not simply curbing, but elimination of corruption in Barbados. We do this through potent legislation enacted and executed or implemented, fair remuneration and appropriate mechanisms for accountability in the context of clear transparency. The expansion of ownership opportunity in Barbados, both with respect to land, business, and capital. It cannot be that in 2022, after all of the investment which sacrificially this country has made in areas of education and other very important areas of socio-economic development and our political development as well, it cannot be that in 2022, after all of this investment, that the majority of Barbadians still remain landless and otherwise dispossessed. The Alliance Party for Progress will change that. We are here to stop poor people from being poor. Land access, the matter of land taxes, must be subjects of priority address for a new Alliance Party for Progress government. Capital access, which continues to deny to poor aspiring business men and women in Barbados the opportunity to build thriving business, while all they can do is stand and watch while those who are already abundant in wealth are further blessed by the generosity of a government's hand. Business development through enterprise must be a priority for us. When I was but a boy growing up in Station Hill, and that is in St. Michael's Central for those of you across Barbados who may not know, my mother always drilled in my head, Junior, go to school and learn well. Don't want to see you end up picking pond grass on Waterford Plantation, which was not far from where I grew up. And I've, ever since then, and especially in my young adult life, and with my university training, developed a perspective on this thing which I think is pertinent for Barbados today. And it is this: if we look at the development of our social architecture or economic profile, even our model of governance in Barbados, what we find is simply this: that once we were slaves in their fields, then we moved beyond that and we became servants in their houses or their homes. And then we graduated, and it would seem as though there's a sense of satisfaction of having attained this level. We become stewards in their offices and their businesses. So we are accountants and we are managers and we control the technology systems. We are but stewards in their offices and companies. The philosophy of the Alliance Party for Progress is this: we must move beyond being stewards and become owners in Barbados. So the pursuit of mass-based ownership in Barbados is a premium objective for this party, which I have the honor to lead, and that's a commitment we make to you. Number 9, the building out of a democracy in which power in real and actual terms is resided in the hands of the people. It resides with the people. That is what republic means. Real power is reposed in the hands of the people. Democracy also implies that. We in Barbados have now become accustomed and seemingly sometimes contented with a situation where power comes to the people once every 5 years. In this instance, for whatever unknown reason, it has come in the middle of a pandemic, 3.5 years early. The people have had no say and will be exposed to possible infection through spread of the Omicron virus, admittedly by the officials, among us. But we promise you a model of governance, a culture of democracy, the outworkings of institutions which will clearly demonstrate that power resides in the hands of the people, not once every 5 years, but every day. And we will be a party where people's participation and the further inclusiveness of the people of this country will be reflected in how we are governed, how we govern ourselves, and how we remain accountable to each other as we chase our national dreams. So it's a building of a democracy in which power, in real and actual terms, lies in the hands of the people. The fashioning of institutions respected highly, functional very efficiently, and serving the interests of Barbados in the region and beyond. A nation-building exercise that does not jettison our values. It does not dismantle our foundational institutions. It does not denude our communities of their richness, and it certainly does not deny our nations, our people's reliance on a God who is sovereign and supreme, and who has expressed himself in bountiful blessings upon this country for the past several hundred years. So I ask you, when you go to the polls on January 19th, all across Barbados, to consider the candidates, the men and women, men who are exceptional achievers in the areas of academic training, professional responsibility, and some who are very active in their communities and who are well connected with the people. We have a rich blend of talent, some experience, as Lynette would have shared, some youthful exuberance and enthusiasm, which is always good. But all of us possess of a sense of unified vision for the betterment of Barbados. A government must become an instrument that brings about meaningful change. And several of the policies to which I just made reference may fall into the realm of things we have heard before. Some of them do, for sure. We will always admit that. There's hardly anything which is totally new. But you know this? What matters or what makes the difference is the implementation. And if the implementation leads to radical and revolutionary change, then we are serving a purpose as a government. And we lay the charge against this government that though they have managed certain things well, they have not brought about significant revolutionary change in the lives of the people of Barbados, either at the level of the poor working class of Barbados, the many unemployed all across this country, or even a private sector battling the ravages and salts of the winds of COVID and other pressures coming from abroad. The Alliance Party for Progress makes a commitment that when you elect us to government, we will pursue policies which in their intention and in their actualization will bring about radical and revolutionary change. We are here to stop poor people from being poor. We are here to engage ourselves with the people in a wholesome exercise of nation building. That's what we're committed to. So I ask you again, all across this country, on January 19th, to vote for the candidates of the Alliance Party for Progress. I ask you humbly to vote for myself in St. Michael's Central. Many of you knew that I grew up in that constituency, spent the first 30 years or so of my life. All my adult formation stems from my experiences in St. Michael's Central. Some of you may know as well, I pastor a church, senior minister of the church, which is located in St. Michael's Central, and have served the communities of St. Michael's Central for the past over 30 years. I've done that selflessly. I've done it sacrificially. I've done it out of a sense of calling, a sense of duty to God, and a strong desire to help my fellow men and women and my friends and associates, and many with whom I grew up in Station Hill. The Lord has helped me to be an instrument of blessing to many. I've led the church in programs of ministry that offer social welfare and financial assistance to families and households which are stressed long before COVID. That has only been intensified since COVID. Every service of the church, whether it be funerals in times of bereavement and sadness, whether it be weddings or baby christenings in times of gladness and bliss, I've offered the services of church all without charge, because I'm here under a sense of calling from God to serve the people of this land, and through the instrumentality of that church in Station Hill, to serve the surrounding communities of Bush Hall and Waterford and Bank Hall and Water Hall land and Station Hill and Dean's Village and Flint Hall. That is what Joseph Atherley has committed his life to through the ministry of the church these past over 3 decades, without pay, without asking for any returns, because I seek to serve you. And I bring that same attitude to this moment of election on January 19th. You know me and I know you. I ask you for your vote. I humbly do so, and I pray God's blessings on you. Thank you.
We rocking with it.